All right, welcome back. Now we are ready to publish your post, spread it far and wide, let LinkedIn come to you and start generating lots of business, right? So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take you in this module step by step through everything I do once I hit publish on a post. Literally, I'm going to do it in real time to show you how fast and efficient this system can be, okay? So watch this. So again, this is the post we were working on in the previous module. I've checked it over. Everything looks good. I'm ready to go. I've got my call to action. So I'm going to literally hit publish, and here it goes. Okay. Best time to publish posts on LinkedIn, by the way. I often get asked that. Best time to publish a post on LinkedIn, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. During the middle of the week, late morning works really well. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, mid to late morning works great, okay? As far as it getting seen and organically, all that good stuff. So now what you can see is LinkedIn says, hey, great, we shared it. You can see under LinkedIn Pulse, right? Here is my headline. My whole post is right here. We got to do some work now. So the first thing we want to do is let's share it on Twitter with all our Twitter followers. And I like to put in here new post so people know, oh, this is new. John just put out something new. Okay, how to quickly get an unfair advantage on LinkedIn. So it's out there. Now I can share it on Facebook, on my fan page, anywhere like that. Great. So I can close that out. Also, you'll see here the stats on your post, of course, the published date, how many views, how many likes, how many comments. Those will come into play later. I'll tell you about those. But then these sharing buttons are always here, so you can always share these. I like to reshare it on LinkedIn right away with a nice comment or kind of extra thought. So I click the little LinkedIn button. You can see it pulls up something that says share news on LinkedIn. And now there's a couple different things I want to show you here. You can see right here, it shows you a preview of what it's going to look like. This area here especially. And what I want to do is make sure that reads clearly. Remember what I said about how the first sentence of your post is what they put in here? Here it is, right? Here are 3 easy shortcuts, blah, blah, blah. But it then goes too far. It goes into the second sentence. So I'm going to delete that and then click preview. And you can see now this sentence here, it's just much cleaner. It's a quick 1-sentence summary. Here's the headline, and then here's a 1-sentence summary. Here's the image, right? That image I picked. So you can go and just click edit. You can edit the headline if you need to. You can edit the text. You can include the photo. Just hit preview. That's what people will see in their newsfeed. Now, this first button, share an update, when I check that, this is going to get sent out to my newsfeed, right? So anyone and everyone who follows me on LinkedIn will see this in their home feed as a status update. And I'll just say, excited to share this new post with 3 of my favorite shortcuts here on LinkedIn. Hope you enjoy it, and let me know if you're using all 3 or not. See, what I'm doing there with that last sentence is putting in a little social cue to encourage people to leave a comment or reply, anything like that. Now, what's really cool about this is I've got 2 other ways that I can share my post right here. Posting to groups and also sending to individuals. I can post to groups. Now, I have not talked about LinkedIn groups for a reason in the training thus far. But if you are a member of a lot of LinkedIn groups where your prospects are hanging out, so say you want to sell to small business owners and you have joined a bunch of small business owner groups to market to them, this is where you would share this as a post in those groups, okay? Now, I used to have tutorials on LinkedIn groups. They're not nearly as effective as they used to be. That's why I don't advise you to spend a lot of time trying to market inside of LinkedIn groups, but I do want to share this because it's an easy way to get your content in front of a bunch of people. So what you do is with the groups that you're already joined in, if you are in different groups, you just type the first letter of the alphabet, and you can see it'll pull up all the different groups that I'm a member of, right? So all the relevant groups, I'm going to just type their names in. I could go through the whole alphabet. You can join hundreds of different groups, right? So, man, this will take forever. But I'll just do a few here just to give you an idea. But you can see all the different groups are in there, okay? And then what's key here is when you're sharing to groups, and again, this is if you're already in groups where your prospects are hanging out, where people who would be interested in your content are, because it'll show up as a post inside of the group. The key is with your title and discussion here. You really got to make sure that this is something that will not anger the group moderators. The one thing they don't want is for you just to post randomly, stuff in there that takes people out of the group. So whenever I share in a group, I try to share it as a standalone discussion. And what I mean by that is, did you know about these 3 shortcuts for LinkedIn? Do you use them or have others you love? And what I'm doing is saying, I recently published a post, full link is below, on 3 of my favorite shortcuts to use here on LinkedIn. In case you don't want to, and then see, now I'm going to make the group moderator happy. In case you don't want to leave the discussion here, the 3 shortcuts are Rapportive for Gmail. What are the other ones? Headliner writing tool. And I got to go remember the third one. I remember it now. LinkedIn Connection Revealer. Google Chrome add-on. Curious what your favorite LinkedIn shortcuts or add-ons are. Would love to hear what you use and if you use any of the ones I mentioned in this post. Cheers. Right, so I'm trying to kind of hedge my bets here. One of the dynamics, without going off on a tangent, one of the dynamics with LinkedIn groups that's, one of the reasons I don't like it anymore is there's too much spam in groups. There's too many people just randomly, posting links to outside blogs and things like that. There's not really any discussions or networking going on anymore in groups. That's why I don't recommend you spend a lot of time in them. But if you're already in groups where your prospects are, then it's worth trying. And again, this takes just a few seconds to type up and share. So now I've got it. Let's say all my groups are lined up. With all that said, I click share, and now I'm sharing it in my timeline and to all those different groups all at once. Now, also, I want to show you that indeed, right, this has been published all over the place. So you can see as I go down through my news feed, you can see first off, it says John Nemo published a post. That was when I originally had published right here, how to quickly gain an unfair advantage. So everyone who follows me saw that post, okay? And then you can see it also shared it above here. Let me get it. My drawing tool turned off. You can see it shared it to all these different groups. And see how powerful that is, right? Like all these different groups, it's now a discussion item inside that group, right? Did you know about these 3 shortcuts to LinkedIn? So now it's inside the group, and at the bottom of the group is a link over to the post. So again, that's a nice way to market yourself inside of groups. Again, I don't find this as valuable, so don't spend a lot of time on groups unless you're already in a bunch where prospects are, okay? So one other neat way to share your post that sometimes will get you some love from LinkedIn is called Tips at LinkedIn Pulse, right? So this involves Twitter. So what I do is I want to share my post. This is a very simple way to do it. Actually, I'll just click the Twitter button, and it'll open up Twitter, and I'm logged in. And what I'll say, I'll actually change all this around. I'll keep the link to my post, but I'll say 3 of my, are you using these 3 LinkedIn shortcuts? And then I'll say tips at LinkedIn Pulse, okay? And LinkedIn Pulse, when you tag them, and they've actually said this on other places, the LinkedIn Pulse editors are always looking for content to feature either on Twitter or on the LinkedIn blog. And then what you do is you tweet it out, and with the phrase tips at LinkedIn Pulse, and I'll go over to Twitter and show you here. And what'll happen is sometimes they'll retweet it or they'll pick it up. And so let me go over here and see. It should have already posted on Twitter. Okay, below. Okay, are you using these 3 LinkedIn shortcuts? Tips at LinkedIn Pulse. And you can see, right, LinkedIn Pulse, 111,000 followers. They're constantly, sharing different articles, right, that tag back to LinkedIn. So sometimes they will pick up just random people's stuff, and one of the ways that they find things is when you tweet at them, right? So, hey, at LinkedIn Pulse, thought you might find this interesting, 3 new shortcuts. However you want to do it to be creative, just to call their attention to it, because LinkedIn, it's ironic, but LinkedIn is very active on Twitter. Their staff, their marketing people, their support team is very, very active on Twitter, as are their editors. So use Twitter to follow the different LinkedIn channels, to give shout outs to their editors. And one of the ways to do it is that tips at LinkedIn Pulse, and then link to your article and put like one sentence in about the topic or anything like that. Now, another great way to share your new post on LinkedIn to give it some longer term legs, so to speak, is using a third-party scheduling tool like Hootsuite or Buffer to set up your post to go out a few times. And here's how you do it. So I basically copy the URL, and then I'll go over to Buffer. And this is Buffer. Buffer.com is the one that I use, okay? I'm in my account, and I choose LinkedIn, and I choose content, and then this box pops up. What do I want to share just on LinkedIn, right? You can do it on multiple networks, but just for this example, I want to show you for LinkedIn. I'll just paste in the link, and you can see it defaults to a LinkedIn Pulse. And that's just part of the glitchiness of LinkedIn and how it doesn't always play nice with third-party vendors. So what we have to do is let's save the image, and let's copy the headline, and then we'll just post this in. You only have to do this once, and then it'll always be there on Buffer for you. So I put that in, and then I'll put in my first sentence. So again, I'm just copying and pasting over here to set it up on Buffer. And then, don't worry, that'll all look normal. Whoops, where'd it go? There it is. Okay, and then I'll change my image, and I will use the same image I used in the post. And now it'll all look fancy and clean and nice, right? So when it posts on LinkedIn, this is what it'll look like in the preview area. And so then I'll just say a quick comment about it. Excited to share this post. Are you using all of these shortcuts or not? Wondering if I'll stump you. LOL. Right? Just kind of having fun. And then basically what I can do now is, again, I've got it all set up. It looks fancy. It looks nice. I can either add it to my queue and it'll go out at a prearranged time, or I can schedule it and say, you know what? I want this to go out on June 9th at 10:24 a.m. approximately, right? And so Buffer will put that in the hopper and schedule it and then send it out on that day and that time. Now, what I like about Buffer that's a little different than Hootsuite and other tools, especially as it relates to LinkedIn and other networks that you might be on socially, is the analytics. So watch this. I can go into Buffer, and I can see, yeah, here's everything I have scheduled to go out today. Okay, all these different blog posts. But what's really interesting is here where it says most popular, I can look through and see what I've been sharing on LinkedIn that's getting the most clicks, right? So I can see back on May 18th, right, this post here got 61 clicks on LinkedIn. It got 8 likes. It got 6 comments. So I'm going to want to share that again, right? So I can hit rebuffer, and it will put it back in the hopper to get shared at a later time and date, right? See how this works? So I can go down and I can see what's working. Oh, this article got 42 clicks and 2 likes, and I can go down and see 36. So you can see what content is working that you schedule and put on Buffer, and then what works on LinkedIn, right? You can also say most likes, most reshares, most connections, anything like that, right? But again, this is just under analytics and posts. It's a very, very powerful tool. And then again, most popular, least popular, recent. It's a great way to share content and to see what's working. Now, another neat thing that I like about using Buffer, and again, if you use Hootsuite, whatever, that's fine, but for pre-scheduling content to share on LinkedIn, if you click schedule here, it will show, okay, I've set up, these different times to post on LinkedIn, right? And it'll say I'm posting 5 times a day with blog posts and SaaS updates and things like that. What's really neat is Buffer will actually analyze for you. Once you've been doing this for a while, they will analyze for you down here what times work best for you on LinkedIn. You can see that. Want to optimize? Try our optimizing tool. And what Buffer will actually do, let me click it, is it will look at all the content you've been sharing on LinkedIn through Buffer, and you'll tell it, I want to post, 5 times a day, let's say, let's say, 6 times a day, 4 times a day, whatever it is. Calculate the best times. I'm going to pick LinkedIn. And then let's see, and it will look through all the data and say, yeah, you know what? These are the best times of day for you to post, John. This is when you're going to get the most engagement on LinkedIn. And so what I can do then is just tell Buffer, great, let's just make that my new schedule. And then all I have to do to give my LinkedIn content extra life is go in here where it says content and just share different posts, right? So it might be linking to my main blog. It might be linking to a post I published on LinkedIn. It could be linking to an ebook. It could be linking to a webinar. You can see I've got all kinds of content in here, but I have it all queued up ahead of time. So I can load up 10, 20, 30, 40 of these, and it will automatically post it on LinkedIn right in my news feed here under your updates all the time. And you'll see here how it shows up, right? You can see this was a Buffer post right here where I posted a link from the business journals, right? And I did that a couple days ago. And then other ones, those are the groups that I shared in recently. But if I keep going, you'll see these are all posts that I did in Buffer, right? And then what Buffer will do is analyze the results and the engagement that these get, and it will tell me that on the other side inside of Buffer and go, hey, you know what? When we look at the analytics, these posts are doing the best, right? These are getting the most likes, or these are getting the most clicks, so that I can share them again in a couple weeks or 5 days or 4 days, just add it back to the queue. There it goes, right? It's buffered. It's a great way to get more mileage out of your content. Okay, so what I'm saying here is create it once, but you have to share it multiple times. Now, that doesn't mean you share it every single day of the week, the first week that you publish it, but maybe you share it 2 or 3 times the week that you publish it, like every other day, and then you reshare it once a week for the next couple of months, especially if it's evergreen content, because again, you never know when this will get in front of someone. And so again, you can also use Buffer to see what's really resonating, what types of posts are working, what headlines got the most clicks, and adjust accordingly. Now, we're off to a good start, right? We're sharing it far and wide on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Facebook. Obviously, if you have an email list, you can use that. But again, as far as the most powerful thing that I have seen content on LinkedIn do is sending it one-on-one to my individual existing connections, people who already know me, who are already connected to me. Okay, and that's where our good friend LinMail Pro comes in again. Remember LinMail Pro, our little airplane up here, right? So what I'm going to do now is use LinMail Pro to individually send this post to 5,000 different connections, okay? Because I've got over 5,000 and I can do this one-on-one automatically. So let's walk through how to do that. The first thing I need to do is open a new page, go under My Network and Connections, and I'm going to pick my list of people. Right now, if you've done your homework, again, this is so important, and you go in and you've tagged everybody, right? Filter by tag, and let's say I want to start with business development executives. Here's all my business development executives, right? I've got them all tagged. You can see that. I'm going to scroll down, and what you want to do is get the page fully loaded. So keep scrolling until all the names and faces show up, and I'll show you why that matters here in a second. But basically, depending on how many people you've tagged, you could be scrolling for quite a while. If you've tagged 10 or 50 or 100 or 500. But the important thing is you have to manually make sure that everybody gets loaded, right? And you'll see eventually I won't be able to scroll anymore. It'll stop spinning, and that'll mean everybody I have with this tag is now locked and loaded. And here I am at the bottom of the page. I cannot scroll any further. But if I go back up to the top, right, you can see the whole page is loaded. And so now I've got all my prospects loaded up here. I've got all my business development executives, my target audience that I want to send this content to. I go up under LinMail, and you can see the drop down here, add checked to queue. And then you can see it immediately changed up here. It added 187 people to my queue. Great, okay, and I've got messaging enabled. Again, these are existing people I'm already connected to at a first degree level, so I don't want to send invite requests. I don't want to just visit profiles. I want to send them a message, okay? So I click dashboard, and you can see LinMail now has loaded in all 187 people. Here they are, right, in all their glory. And I can go through and I check each name and make sure all the first names look correct. There's no funky characters or anything that came in. Maybe I want to capitalize the Lee and Kathy Lee Spencer. If there's anybody I don't want, I can check their name and delete them if they shouldn't be on this distribution list. Like for this one, I'll just say Sunny, right? It's just simpler. What this is doing is, since I'm going to insert their first name, I want to just make sure that it looks like it's not a robot doing it. So again, you can see I've got everybody's name in here. Everything else is looking good, looking good, looking good. I'll scroll to my top. See, this one has a cloud, so I'll take that off because John has a weird character in front of his name. Okay, great. Now, here's how to really take advantage of LinMail Pro to use that content as bait. But I'm going to paste in a script that I want to use to promote this post and some other things as well. So watch this. This is where magic really can take place on LinkedIn with personal one-on-one marketing. You can see it says, hi first name, or hi Patrick, the first person on the list. Hope the snow finds you well. I recently published a post called, and I put the post title in there, how to quickly gain an unfair, oh, I have a typo in there. See, this is good. Spell check. How to gain an unfair advantage on LinkedIn that features 3 of my favorite LinkedIn shortcuts. And then it says you can read the post here, right? Hope you find it helpful. Talk more soon. No worries either way. And then I put my name in. And then here's a little extra, right? I've been doing this. I've earned some credibility. These are people that know me. P.S. Also wanted to let you know about a free webinar I have coming up this week called 5 Simple Tips to Generate More Sales Leads with LinkedIn. Blah, blah, blah. If you're interested, here's a link. Have a great week. Sweet, right? So now I'm doing 2 things. I'm sending him a free piece of content that he'll find valuable, 3 new shortcuts, 3 tips, and inside this post, remember, I've got built-in calls to action, built-in lead funnels, come get on the webinar, all that stuff. And I'm putting in a little call to action, sneaking it in at the bottom as a PS. Not high pressure, not a sales message. I'm giving him something valuable first. Then I'm saying, PS, little call to action. If you want some more free tips, here's a webinar. For you, it might be PS, if you ever have detailed questions about XYZ, feel free to reach out anytime. Here's my phone number. Whatever it might be, whatever your call to action is with this audience. I could even get more hyper-personal and say, watch this. I recently published a post aimed at business development professionals. Remember, this list is all business development professionals. So now he's reading it going, oh, it's about my industry, right? Aimed at business development professionals called How to Quickly Gain an Unfair Advantage on LinkedIn. And then I'll say that features 3 of my favorite LinkedIn shortcuts. You can read the post here. Hope you find it helpful. Talk more soon. And then the little, PS, if you want, I got a free webinar. Now, let's get into how to send this out automatically to all these people, right? So I've got 187 people queued up, ready to go. Now, the way LinMail Pro works, again, let me just get out my drawing tool. It'll tell me up here if there's any errors with messages failing or things like that. It'll also keep track of all my progress, how it's going through. Yep, Patrick got the message successfully, and then here's my queue of people, right? So if there's anyone in that queue that I don't want to send it to, say, oh gosh, you know what? I don't want Cindy to get that message. I just delete her. She's gone. Don't worry, right? So it changes the overall number. Since I'm using first names, right? I'm using that insert first name over here. We want to make sure those are correct. I can save this queue so I know, and I'll say BizDev1. And then you can save the queue. And then later on, I can always come back and reload that and send it again. So let's say, for example, I only want to send 50 of these today. Or let's say, I want to just send the first 5 out and make sure everything looks good. So you could set a maximum or a minimum of how many messages LinMail Pro will send here. What I recommend is that you start slow and you scale it up, right? If I all of a sudden go from sending 0 LinkedIn messages a day to sending 400 in one day, I will get flagged. LinkedIn will lock me out. So the key with sending out these messages is not to do too many too quickly. It's to scale up slowly and gradually. So if you're thinking of it like a chart, you wouldn't send your messages like this. You wouldn't have it spiking all over the place, right? It would be clear and consistent. So it would be steady, right? You're steadily sending out more and more messages every day. So maybe the first time you use LinMail Pro down here is, let's say, 20 messages, right? The next time it's 30. The next time it's 40. The next time it's 60. The next time it's 100. If you do it that way, you won't get in trouble with LinkedIn because they're seeing a steady, normal looking progression, right? Like a bar graph or whatever you want to call it. So where you'll get into trouble with using LinMail Pro or any automation tool is if you're spiking all over the place doing, 0 to 100 with, no breaks. So what I'm going to do is tell you right now, just start slow, send out 10 or so the first day. What's beautiful about this is we can save it and come back to it tomorrow. So what it's going to say is before I hit go, I got to make sure my little LinMail Pro widget is running. And again, it's just a little widget you turn on for a Mac or a PC in the background. And then I click go. And then you can watch as it unfolds here, it will send a message, right? Patrick was the first person on my list. It's going to open up his profile, open up my mailbox, send him the exact message. There it is. Hey, Patrick, hope this note finds you well. I've got my little call to action at the bottom. And then it's going to send that to him, wait a little bit, and then send the next one. So again, I can monitor everything here. You can see it says next one is going out in a couple of seconds. It's going to show up under the progress bar that Patrick went out successfully. There he is. Now it's moved on to Theodore. It's loading Theodore's page. Once Theodore sends, he'll show up here. Now we've moved over to Theodore's page. You can see same thing, right? The message is on its way. It's opened up his profile. It's using my InMail box. Again, this is beautiful because it's automated. I'm not doing anything, right? So I can go off and do something else right now. You can see here's the message. It went through. Right now it's going to open up Mark. It's going to send him a message because I'm connected to these guys, right? This is what I was talking about in the earlier modules about having bait to go fishing with. I'm fishing right now for business development prospects. These are all business development professionals. And rather than me just sending them a cold email saying, hey, do you want to buy my LinkedIn training? I'm sending them something saying, hey, here's 3 ways you as a business development professional can get more bang out of LinkedIn, get more business out of LinkedIn. And oh, by the way, if you like that, I have another free webinar where I'll teach you even more. And if you like that, then I have a paid training. But you see how I'm moving them further and further down my funnel. And what I'm doing is I'm leveraging our existing connection. We're already connected at a first degree level, so theoretically, Lori at least knows who I am or accepted my invite recently, right? Anything like that. Now I'm sending her a helpful message. And I can tell you right now, I send out 300 to 400 of these a day, and I probably get back 1 complaint, maybe 2 complaints a day out of 400. Because here's the thing, nobody complains if you're sending them valuable tips. Nobody gets angry at me for sending them useful information that helps them do their job better. This is the key of the marketing element of it is, am I sending them something of value? Am I sending them useful content? Not a sales pitch, not me asking for their time on the phone, not me asking for them to do anything, right? Just saying, hey, here's a free blog, thought you'd find it helpful, cheers, right? That's all. And now LinMail has finished sending. You can see I've got my success up here in the dashboard. So what I can do is see, okay, these are the people that it went out to today. You know what? I want to export that and just make sure I don't lose that. So I'll just write BizDev finish whatever, right? Save it. It's now exported as a CSV file. I can open that up in Excel. I have a done list today saying, okay, here's the people I sent that post to today. I can track the success result. You know, here's all the people if I need to sort any of that or take notes, make a new column of notes for follow-ups, right? But what I can do then is clear that out. I can save the remaining list and say BizDev2, right? And save that. And let's just pretend I'm coming back tomorrow. So I'll close all this out. Let's pretend it's the next day and I go, yeah, you know what? I want to send on LinkedIn. Okay, I better go open up LinMail Pro. I'll just clear this out. And I'm going to show you how this works. So say you come back tomorrow, you have the same blog post, and you want to send it to that list that you started yesterday. You go up here where it says load queue from file, click that. Remember, I had saved my progress to where I was, BizDev2. Open it up. There they are, right? And it remembered the names that I corrected, John with the cloud. All of that is there ready to go. I just repaste in the message that I used yesterday. You can see that message is still there. It's got all the links. It's all relevant. I, again, can set my max or my minimum. This time, I'm going to do 10 messages, right? I'm going to do 10 messages to this group of 170, whatever it is, that are left, 181 that are left. The widget is running. I've turned that on. And off we go, right? And again, the beautiful thing about this, when you share these types of messages, a couple of great things happen. One is I either get an instant reply from someone going, hey, you know, I was just thinking about you. I'm so glad you reached out. I was meaning to say I need to purchase a LinkedIn training. I get those all the time, right? Because I'm staying in front of people. They're reminded that, oh yeah, John Nemo's the LinkedIn trainer guy. My VP of marketing said we need to get some LinkedIn training. Nemo, give me a bid, right? You're staying in front of people. Timing is everything sometimes, right? Now, the second thing is they go and consume the content, and then they come back to me and say, yeah, that was really good. What else can I learn from you? Or they opt into my email list, or they sign up for my webinar automatically, right? I'm not having to do anything. I'm not having to sit here individually and hold their hand. But again, you can see all of this is housed inside my LinkedIn mailbox. So as soon as they reply in real time, I can write back and say, hey, so glad you liked the post. What was your favorite part? By the way, are you looking for any help with LinkedIn training? I do speaking and training, blah, blah, blah. Like, you can feel out your prospects depending on what they say. But this is the key. This is really using LinkedIn like an internal email list. And the reason I'm able to do this is I laid a foundation, right? With all my new connections, with all my existing connections, I tagged all these people according to, a category. They're all in business development. So whenever I have business development themed content or offers or things like that, I can send it all to them automatically. And you can see over here on LinMail, right? Success, success, success. It's going through. Now, a couple of warnings. If you're going crazy on this, again, and trying to send too many posts too quickly, what I see happening is people get locked out of LinkedIn for a day. Don't panic. Don't freak out. You're not going to get your account banned or deleted. What you'll do is you'll just get locked out of LinkedIn for about 24 hours. What's ironic is you can still use the LinkedIn mobile app and, utilize it that way. Again, you're not going to have any problems if you do this slowly and scale up your efforts, okay? I promise you, you're not going to run into trouble. Where I have kind of found, I started slowly. I'm up to about 300 to 400 messages a day. Sometimes if I try to do 450 in a day, I'll get kicked out of LinkedIn. And what it's doing is it's tripping their system to say, hey, John visited a lot of profiles today. There's some magic number for me personally, where if I go over 448, it'll say, hey, you visited too many profiles. We're just going to put you on warning here for a day. And then you get back in. It's not a big deal. Don't panic. If you run into that, let me know. I'll walk you through it. There's lots of different ways you can, work through that. So I just want to make sure that you use this, cautiously at first, build it up slowly, but you should, again, be able to get up to 200, 300 messages a day. And again, what I'm doing is sending all this on autopilot. They're getting it. They're not angry because I'm sending them free tips, right? It's coming through as a personal one-on-one message, and it works really well, right? Like I said, I get quick wins with this because people either write back and say, hey, I'm glad you, popped back up in front of me. I was meaning to talk to you about XYZ, or they engage with the content, or they write me back about it, or they opt in to something within the content. There's all these different ways that you can take advantage of this. And again, once this is done running for today, I just save the queue, as BizDev3 or whatever it is. If I'm done for the day and I want to stop, I just hit the stop button. It'll stop progress there and it'll close everything out. And then I can just save my queue and start up tomorrow. So again, the idea with this is you take your coordinated tagged people, your exact target audience, and then you send them your blog post. You send them something useful. And you can also put in a little ask at the bottom, like, P.S., if you ever want more, you can da-da-da-da-da, right? Just feel it out. I'll give you a few different scripts below this video of what to use inside of LinMail Pro for these messages. Just copy and paste those. But have at it. I'm telling you, this is the fastest way to do it. Now, of course, you don't have to use LinMail Pro. You can go into your mailbox and you can just do this one at a time, right? Type in a person's name, copy and paste the message, etc. I definitely recommend LinMail Pro. It's so much faster and easier. So again, have at it. Get going with sharing your posts in all these different ways, and I'll see you in the next video.